After much speculation, the constitutional referendum has been delayed. This as the new gaming bill passes in the House of Assembly. The Prime Minister hits out at controversial Fort Charlotte MP Andre Rollins, and the BEC chairman promises no more blackouts. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and MV12 starts right now. Tonight, Leader of Government Business in the House of Assembly, Dr. Bernard Nottage, has announced that the constitutional referendum set for November 6 has been postponed. Following consultations, Nottage said officials will announce a new date. However, he told parliamentarians it will likely be in 2015. It represents the fourth delay of the highly anticipated referendum since Prime Minister Perry Christie announced plans to hold a referendum on gender equality.
Should be and is hereby vacated. The new date for the holding of a constitutional referendum in 2015 will be announced by the government in due course, following consultations with the opposition, the Parliamentary Commissioner, and the Constitutional Commission. Notwithstanding the rescheduling of the referendum for 2015, it is anticipated that the bills that are presently in committee will proceed to finalization and passage in the near future. A more specific timetable in this regard will be announced following consultations between the government and the opposition.
The referendum is meant to institute full equality between men and women in matters of citizenship and eliminate gender discrimination based on sex. The Bahamas Crisis Center has called on Prime Minister Perry Christie to delay the referendum until mid-2015, arguing that more time is needed for a proper education campaign. Additionally, members of Parliament from both sides have raised concern about at least one of the four constitutional amendment bills. Nottage said the Constitutional Commission will continue with what he called an expansive campaign.
As the purpose of the rescheduling of the referendum is to allow a longer period of time for public education and dialogue on the issues, the Constitutional Commission will be proceeding with its public education program on an expanded and sustained basis throughout the Bahamas. Mr. Speaker, the government remains fully committed to constitutional reform and, in particular, the four constitutional reform bills in question, which, as you know, have as their common thread the establishment of full equality between men and women.
Christie hinted last week that the referendum would be postponed after he received letters from several major women's groups recommending a delay. He said he would be guided by the people. Well, following 3 days of contentious debate, the controversial new gaming bill passed in the House of Assembly at 5:50 this evening. As expected, opposition members of Parliament and one PLP MP voted against the bill. Following the vote, House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major gave the count.
The votes as a result of the division: 25 yeas, 7 nays, no abstention, and 5 absent. The yeas have it. The bill is passed.
Before MPs voted, Prime Minister Perry Christie tabled in Parliament a request for proposal that will go out to applicants interested in receiving web shop licenses.
I now, Mr. Speaker, request your permission to lay on the table of this House the request for proposal that will be sent out to those applicants for licenses, Mr. Speaker. This in itself defines the authenticity and the rigorous nature of this process that we have put in place, Mr. Speaker. And so we have no difficulty whatsoever, Mr. Speaker.
Order that the document be brought up.
During his wrap-up of that debate, Prime Minister Christie took a swing at Progressive Liberal Party backbencher Dr. Andre Rollins, asserting the PLP operates on a revolving door and any member who has an issue with the party's style of governance is free at all times to go. Christie said he is personally responsible for Rollins receiving a nomination, but sometimes he makes mistakes. Vonnie Toot reports.
Christie's comments come days after Rollins said in the House of Assembly that government's hypocrisy on the gaming bill could cause the PLP to lose the next general election.
When people on my side in the process of governance disagrees fundamentally with me, they have a choice. Firstly, to recognize that the Progressive Liberal Party operates on a revolving door. The door swings in and it swings out. So you are free at all times, Mr. Speaker, to stay or to go. There's no problem with me and my leadership in that regard.
In recent weeks, Rollins has slammed his own party in Parliament over value-added tax and the constitutional amendment bills. He also blasted the Prime Minister, asserting the country needs new leadership. Christie says he refuses to engage in a debate on the floor of the House with anyone who can discuss their concerns with him privately.
And that's why I'm personally disappointed in the member for Charlotte. Because he knows the confidence I have in him. He knows the confidence I have in his ability. His mother knows the confidence I have in his ability. He knows the extent to which I personally am responsible for his nomination. He knows that. I don't take away from him his right to speak. I don't want to.
The Prime Minister also took exception to Rollins' claim that he is tired of hearing Christie quote Bible scriptures.
But just allow me, Mr. Speaker, to be who I am. In all my perfections, to allow me to be who I am.
Christie says he has been instrumental in introducing many Bahamians like Rollins to frontline politics, but suggested he may have made an error in judgment.
I've done so on the basis of my judgment on what I think would be right for the Progressive Liberal Party and right for the country. Sometimes we make mistakes, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes we make mistakes.
Rollins has said he is still a PLP because he believes the party can effect change. However, he told NB12 if he is denied another nomination, he may run for another political party as an independent candidate or not at all. Meantime, the Prime Minister also took a swing at opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, whom he says has called him many things.
But I'm confident I could hurt him with the same degree of personal attacks. No threat, not at all. No threat. But I have decided, Mr. Speaker, that I'm going to stay away from anything personal in this debate. Period, full stop.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonnie Toot.
Bamboo Town Member of Parliament Rundward Wells was absent for today's vote. He told Kyle Joaquin why he would be missing it.
As Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Works, Wells said he would have to resign if he voted against the gaming bill currently before Parliament. And as it relates to this particular issue, he says he's not prepared to do so right now. Wells says he supports certain aspects of the revised gaming bill, but does not support it in its entirety. Wells, who is the Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Works, said if the bill was simply giving rights to foreigners, then he would have tendered his resignation over it. He added that quite simply the way to work around not voting for the bill is for him to not show up when it's time to vote.
The fact of the matter is within the Westminster system, when one cannot completely vote for a bill, when you're attached to Cabinet of the Bahamas, one has the opportunity to be away from the House rather than absolutely voting against it. And I think my views were made quite clear as to what my position is. I believe that we should go and give Bahamians full rights, which means that Bahamians should be able to go across Paradise Island into the casinos to game. And those persons involved in the number business should also have the right to go after the 6 million tourists. That's my position.
Wells has been in the spotlight over the past few months as he waits to learn his fate after he allegedly signed a $600 million letter of intent to Stellar Waste Energy without cabinet approval. Now, while he did not comment on that matter, Wells said him standing up for what he believes in when it comes to the gaming bill is most important.
Ultimately, I do not believe in gaming from the standpoint of empowering persons. But in this country, we have to deal with what exists. And the fact of the matter is the gaming industry has already grown. The domestic gaming industry with the web shops has grown, and so it needed to be dealt with. And if we're going to deal with it, then my position is deal with it holistically, not just from the economic empowerment side, which is giving the individual the opportunity to own web shops and to be involved on that side, but also to give Bahamians the individual right to be able to access all gaming facilities as they see fit.
While Wells feels him being absent from the vote is better than him voting against it, one of his constituents said he has more than just the gaming bill to worry about. 92-year-old former teacher Nora Dorset says she hasn't seen Wells for over 2 years now.
I haven't seen Mr. Wells in this area since election. And I would really love for him to know what's happening in this area. So as far as what's the thing name?
Gaming bill.
The gaming bill is concerned, we need to get this area here first straight first.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.